India versus Pakistan Part 2 goes to Pakistan. It's one each in potentially a best of three encounter in Asia Cup 2022. Mohammed Rizwan, magnificent innings. I think the first game he played versus India, he potentially played a match losing innings, but looks like he made it up today by playing a match winning innings. And Asif Ali Khoshdil finally finished it off. So to talk about what happened, how did Pakistan win, how did India lose, we got Vishak joining back from Bangalore and Sanjay Dubey, who's a Fakhar Zaman fan from London. Sanjay, congratulations, and how do you feel?
As a Pakistani fan, sorry, as an Indian fan, it's really quite disappointing. But as we discussed in our mid-inning show, we did think that we are a few runs light, considering we only had five bowling options. Hardik was going to be a fifth bowling option, and two of them didn't really turn up. Yuzi Chahal had an off day. Hardik had an off day. Our youngsters bowl really well. Arshdeep and Bishnoi, I thought, bowled really well and kept us in the game. But the game changing innings was from Mohammad Nawaz. Indians haven't seen much of him. It was a inspired move to put him up the order. Obviously, with two leg spinners, a left-hander, and I haven't seen anyone bat with such a uh, high grip, and he was swinging superbly. He scored 40 odd in 20 balls. That was the game-changing innings.
Absolutely. I should have given credit to Nawaz's innings. He was sent up the order, Vishak, as a pinch hitter. Master move by Saklin Mushtaq. Wakar Yunis was talking about it during the commentary that in domestic cricket, he plays higher up the order. So Pakistan trying a little bit different tactics. So like we said
I,
during the toss, Pakistan was much more prepared today.
I think they took a cue from last game which India did when they sent Jadeja up the order. I think India did the same. They wanted to Jadeja to take on the spinners, where both the Pakistani spinners were bringing it into the left-hander. I think they did the same thing here. They had quite a few left-handers like Iftikhar Ahmed, or they had quite a few choices, but they still went in with Nawaz, who was slotted into batten at number 8. Had he got out, they wouldn't have lost much because he was someone who was slotted to batten at number 8. They still had quite a few batsmen to come in. So it was a quite a good gamble they took. It was like their tops. They just had their tops. The tops seven shifted a little bit after that. So I think their batting was they bat quite deep actually, Pakistan, and they took a right gamble. They had quite a few left-handers, and they saw that Nawaz, had he got out also, it wouldn't have mattered much. And the way he got going, it was really good. And if you look at the chase, they were always under control. They never let the run rate go beyond 10.5 at any point of time. And from 8th over to the 15th over, the 16th over was bowled by Bowie, which did not go for any boundary. They had at least one boundary every over, and every of these overs were a double-digit over. Whereas compared to India's innings, from fourth after the fourth over till almost the 13th or 14th over, we didn't have a single double-digit over. So that
That's
is where I think Pakistan actually they kept the chase throughout and control, and they were always in the game.
That was
So
good planned chase, rightly mentioned by Vishak. Sanjay, from point of view of game of margins, like they say, especially in India Pakistan kind of encounter and pressure, there are a couple of questions coming our way. 20th over of India and Arshdeep Singh should be taking catches for the next 2 years. I get it that he dropped the catch, but would it have made a difference to the game result?
Who knows? But I wouldn't necessarily, put too much blame on Arshdeep. To be honest, Pakistan were in a very good position. Even if he had taken the catch, they had decent firepower left. And if you look at India's inning, yes, Kohli played three dot balls, but then Fakhar Zaman also dropped a catch. So who knows? Maybe 5 runs they could have saved. So I mean, he's a youngster under pressure. It happens. So although you want such a close encounter to be won by some brilliance of play rather than some mistake from a team. So I wouldn't be too harsh on Arshdeep. I think he had a decent outing. Between him and Bishnoi, who were the pick of the bowlers, they only conceded 53 runs in almost 8 overs, whereas rest of them went over 10 and over, and all the others were much more experienced than these two guys. So forget about that catch. It may or may not have made a difference, but I wouldn't worry about it.
And Handy, who's our usual follower, points out the same thing which you're saying. Understood Arshdeep dropped the catch, but we had Hardik and Chahal providing 44 run each, which also contributed to the run rate aspect, which Vishak covered, saying that scoring rate never went past out of control of Pakistan. So we missed the sixth bowling option. We spoke about it off air that usually when we bowl first, Vishak, we try to go six bowlers, but
Yeah.
when we try to defend a target, we go five bowlers. Why is that difference in strategy?
I think if you have to in while chasing, right? If you have to when sorry when you're defending a target, if you have to use your sixth bowler, it has to be when there is less pressure. Maybe in the first 10 overs. If you don't use your sixth bowler within the first 10 overs, that's when the after the 10 11th over onwards, the opposition knows like what they have to target and start going hard. And that's the point where when if the opposition is having wickets in hand, you cannot use your sixth bowler. So if you have to use your sixth bowler in the chase, you have to use it pretty early. But that's not the case in the while you are actually bowling first. You can try out your options and you can try to rest because the opposition is trying to set a target and you can put them under pressure.
I've got
So whereas while
slightly different opinion. I think the captains or whoever's going to captain India, so Rohit, for the next few months, he has to be slightly brave to start using Huda or even Virat Kohli because Jadeja is not coming back. Considering today's performance, maybe Hardik Pandya as the fifth bowling option or the main one of the main seamers may not be a good thing for him. Without that pressure, he may be bowling well. So I think they have to, irrespective of the situation, just like Australia does with Glenn Maxwell, just get one or two over out of the way. They love using stats, etc. Seventh over is a very popular over to get your part time is done. So whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know, but it will at least help that person develop into something close to an all-rounder. So I'm of the opinion that you have to try in any situation, if unless it's like a completely low-scoring game where you have to try and get the team all out in 15 overs. So you just use a six bowling option. It just makes it easier in the death overs.
yes, Sanjay, I was also trying to make the same thing. It's like you have to use your sixth bowling option within the first 10 overs. Maybe
Absolutely.
open with Huda. So that is
Yeah,
something you
yeah.
can try and do it. So if you don't use your sixth bowling option within the first 10 overs, then you cannot use it during the chase at all because the chasing team will put pressure on you in the back 10. So at that point, you will have to use your best options and try to contain or get wickets, take wickets. So you will have to bring your sixth bowling option as early as possible and try to give him that comfort when you have a lot of runs in the bank.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and agree that six bowling option is a tricky one. Aniruddha, who is also our usual follower, says 18th over of Bhuvi costed 15 runs. I think Vishak, you pointed out too. There were a couple of deliveries which Bhuvi bowled, which were rank long hops or either a half volley. There are a lot of things which India could have done better. But let's also switch gears a little bit and credit Pakistan for their outstanding batting, except for Fakhar Zaman, who had a strike rate of 83. Every other Pakistan batter had a strike rate of 139. Rizwan, Azam 140, Nawaz 210, and then Asif Ali and Iftikhar Ahmed 200 each. So with that kind of batting setup and intent, I understand that we were a bowler short, or we can say Shami is not there. We could say somebody had a bad day. But I think Pakistan chased it well. They timed it well. They planned it well. And I think due credit should go to Pakistan, Vishak.
Definitely, as I mentioned, right, they planned the chase well. They did not let the run rate go beyond control at all. So after Fakhar Zaman got out, the way Nawaz came in and gave that momentum to the chase, along and even if you see Rizwan, he was not he was rotating as well as trying to hit a boundary every over when Nawaz couldn't get away. So it is like they wanted to get at least a boundary and over somehow. Some if possible they were trying to hit more than one boundary as well. Especially Hardik was taken to the cleaners today. So they targeted Hardik and Chahal was I felt was decent till this first 3 overs, but this fourth over was really a shambles. He was trying to bowl a googly outside leg stump to a left-hander, and that was all. That was kind of a horrible bowling. I think that over kind of gave the momentum to Pakistan again when we had slight momentum on our side, and even that 19th over from Bhuvi, that kind of completely changed the game. because I think that till the, if it was a decent over till there where he would have gone for 8 or 9 runs, the way Arshdeep bowled the last over, maybe it could have been a more closer game than what it was. And we could added gone to the last two balls, and instead of just requiring 2 runs, if Pakistan would have required around 4 or 5 runs, you never know. Like the pressure would have been on the batting team as well.
Yeah, and throughout this tournament, Sanjay, our bowling has been the cause of concern. If you look at a Hong Kong game, we had the same problem. So I understand we had Avish Khan to bank upon and blame upon. Now, do we see any changes happening with the Sri Lanka game, or should we stick to the 11 which we had today?
They'll have to make a decision whether they want to go with two leg spinners or maybe have Akshar Patel or have maybe Akshar Patel instead of Huda. Because if I think in any T20 squad you have to have a sixth bowling option, and if your captain is not going to trust that sixth bowling option, maybe just play a proper bowler in Akshar Patel. Or I don't know why they can't get Deepak Chahar if Avish is not going to be fit enough, and then maybe have him instead of Deepak Huda, because you need that six bowling option. I think it was very superb game first of all, because we sort of after that last year's one-sided drubbing India got against Pakistan, we've had two really good Sunday games, both going to the last over. So really good finishes. It could have gone either way, just boundary here and there. So wouldn't be too harsh, but I think strategically they have to think beyond Jadeja and whether they want to use Hardik as a third seamer within a five bowling combination. So I think those are the two things I would be slightly worried about. And Yuzi Chahal consistently is not taking wickets and leaking uh, runs when it matters the most. I think last match he was fine. The Hong Kong team played him out, but against Pakistan he was wicketless. So I think bowling is a concern. I was good with the batting aspect of India, but yeah, Sri Lanka would be firing all guns blazing because they are in good form. They are on a high, so it won't be any pushover. So both Afghanistan and Sri Lanka will give a good run for India's money.
And Vishak, from batting point of view, and we see Adi joining in from San Fran, will get his view also. From a batting point of view, KL Rahul, slightly better performance today, but still does not seem to be playing freely. What could be the reason? Is it that he was given instruction that hold one side and another side will go, or is just that's how KL is going to play forever?
I think today he played better. He went after the bowling and he looked good as well. But played a wrong shot at the wrong time after the power play and got out to Shadab. Maybe he could have been more, had he stayed on for a couple of overs and then tried to take on the spinners, it could have been much better because he was looking good when he got out. Because Rohit had just lost his wicket in the previous over and you needed one of your openers to kick on. And maybe that is because Kohli has been assigned the role of an anchor. Maybe he wanted to take on the role of the aggressor, and that's why he wanted to go after Shadab, and maybe that's the reason he got out. And yeah, I think today it was a better performance. It was heartening the way both the openers batted. Like 4.2 overs 50 is it was a fantastic start by both the openers, and both the openers were did well. Like they went after the bowling, but it is as I said in the mid inning show also, where the way where we lost the plot is in the back 10 overs. We got around 94 runs in the first 10 overs, and we should have got about 100 runs in the back 10. Whereas we got around 89, and we ended up at 87 runs and ended up at only 181. I think that is where we lost the plot. We should have got more in the back 10. And in the last 5 overs, I think we did not maximize it. So the death overs. So that is where we actually lost the plot in the batting.
And on a lighter note, Deepak Huda's victory streak with India comes to an end. This is the first time ever Deepak Huda in playing 11 and India lost. So, Adi, how do you summarize the game? Are you disappointed? Is it expected result for India?
I think we messed up tactically. So, like a few things, right? The ground was this was a corner pitch, so one side of the boundary was like 60, other side was 80, and India again made the same mistake what they made in the last game, just one left-hander in the top seven, right? So if you look at Pakistan also, they promoted the left-handers. They always had a right and left combination after the opening, pair got out, right? After Babar got out. So that's one. Two, again, I'm not a big fan of playing just five specialist bowlers. Like Huda doesn't count as a bowling option. We didn't even bowl him today, right? So ideally, if Huda is like a player who plays in the top four. If he doesn't play, I don't think he doesn't belong in this playing 11 makeup. You should have ideally played Akshar instead of Huda, right? So that would have given you a left-hander. You could have promoted him to give like right-left combination. You could have gotten 2 overs. Like even in the first match against Pakistan, what happened? Avesh was really bad. So Jadeja pitched in with the 2 overs. So you weren't forced to bowl Avesh for 4 overs, right? So that helped us control the number of runs Pakistan got. Here we weren't able to control that. Rohit was forced to bowl Hardik and Chahal, who were having bad days, 4 overs, and both of them combined gave well over 80 runs, right? So small tactics. And Bhuvi didn't bowl well that last over, not defending or not taking anything away from it. But um, why were the fielders, when required run rate is over 12, like it was 13, I think, 27 of 2 overs, why were the fielders 10 meters inside? Like the last boundary could have been a catch or at least could have been a single. Then Ashdeep could have gotten like 10 or 11 runs to defend, right? So these small things, tactical margin things, like drop catches happen, bowler has a bad over, all those things happen. But I think the larger challenge is we need to like think this through, because if we are going with this attitude of like hitting from the start, right, then you need more balanced with more
bowling
all
attack.
rounders. With more all rounders. So I would have played Ashwin because Pakistan are left handers, and Ashwin is a better batsman than like Chahal or like others, right? So again, so those small things, those margins hurt us, I felt, because if we had batting till number 8, Kohli wouldn't have been farming the strike in the last 2 overs after Huda got out, right? Like those 5-10 runs could have made the difference. So yeah, small things, small margins, nothing to worry about, but hopefully like the think tank has thought through like what tactically they have done wrong, because players performance they can't control, but tactics they can control.
That's a great summary. And Sanjay, I think these things are all what probably Rahul Dravid is also looking towards preparation of World Cup, right? We can be all critical that we're losing to Pakistan, but the small margins, the tactics which Adi spoke about, do you think all that is what India is considering while they are looking to get the top 12 finalized?
Absolutely. I think batting will pretty much pick itself. They have to make a decision what they want to do with Pant and DK situation. Either they play DK consistently as a finisher, or if they desperately want a left-hander, then Pant has to play all the games, irrespective of what they want with the finisher, etc. Because you do not have Jadeja, and with the current bowling combination, you need a proper seamer. With Bumrah back, I don't know whether they want to still consider going back to Shami, because he might have been a better option. Imagine these fast bowlers on the Australian wickets, in Pakistan, in Australia, bowling at 150 in Dubai, they'll be handful. Whereas Indian bowlers today, hardly anyone touched 140. So I think, yeah, tactically, I still see this as a big missed opportunity, because if India has to try and qualify for the final, then next one is a must-win game. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Can't hear you, Suman.
Sorry, I was on mute. So it's definitely a wake up call for India. This nicely sets up the India Sri Lanka game next. So Sri Lanka will also be looking to continue their momentum versus Afghanistan and Bangladesh. They had victory, and India will be feeling the pressure. Any any concerns from India point of view, Adi, from playing 11? I know you mentioned Akshar Patel, but who would he come in? Is it Deepak Huda? Is that the only change? And will you provide any further opportunities to Dinesh Karthik in Asia Cup?
See, like if you're playing, it's simple. Pant or Dinesh Karthik. That's one call you have to make. Stick with it. Don't keep on chopping. Like DK did nothing wrong, but he got the chop. Pant, when he got the chop, he did nothing wrong. So like stick to one. That is one. And then Huda, I would say like play Akshar Patel instead of Huda, because you're not putting Huda in the top four. Your top four is like kind of set. So then play Akshar Patel. I think a number 6 batsman or number 7 batsman, uh, you don't need a proper batsman at number 7 in like a T20, right? Huda is a proper batsman. He can't bowl. Like you can't trust him with like any tough overs. So play Aksar instead of Huda. You get that left-hander option. If you feel like right left combination is required, you can also promote Aksar if you want. and Aksar is in good form. Like it's not like, hey, why are we like pushing for Aksar? But essentially, he did really well in West Indies. I think he was good in the England and Ireland series as well, right? So he's doing well. It's not that oh, it's a different thing. Pakistan were more flexible with their batting order also today. They wanted that right left hand combination that actually hurt us because I think from the eighth over to the 16th over, every over they got a boundary. Hmm. So every over they're scoring 9, 10. So they never allowed the required run rate to go to 12s, 13s, 14s. That's where the pressure comes in. So small things. So nothing to
Yeah.
worry about. I still think India should defeat who else are left, like Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, and qualify to the final. But small things to finalize and fine tune.
Okay. And last question to Sanjay and Vishal. Ashwin, does he stand a chance?
He should play, according to me, because Sri Lanka, at least against Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka has got quite a few left-handers in their middle order. So actually, he should have played today as well. Looking at the matchup, I think I would bring in Ashwin for one of the leggies, and I would bring in Axar as well for Huda. So this will be the two changes which I would make.
Plus, because he's in the squad, it makes no sense to just keeping him out. Might as well not have picked him. So, considering how bad Yuzi Chehal's spell was, and he's not done great to be honest in the recent past, I might just give him a go and see where we go from there. It strengthens your batting as well, and then you can maybe, as Adi mentioned, play Aksar instead of Huda, because Huda at number 7, probably 5-10 balls. Aksar will do probably a similar job, and if not better. So yeah, if Huda is not going to bat in top 5, 6, makes no sense.
Okay, there it is. Pakistan won the Asia Cup second encounter between India and Pakistan by 5 wickets, a ball to spare. Congratulations, Pakistan, and to the Pakistani fans. Tough luck, India. I mean, we had a chance to win, but definitely there are opportunities where Pakistan played well. I think the way I look at this game is Pakistan did less errors than India. Both of them did mistakes, but I think Pakistan did a few lesser than India. So that's where we are. We are going to go turn over to Sri Lanka game during the course of the week. Adi, thanks for hopping on. Sanjay and Vishak, appreciate it that you guys joined in pre and mid match innings as well. Until next time, and Andy, Anirudh, Ajay, Kani, Shijo, thanks for engagement. Really appreciate it. It encourages us. Until next time and next game, see you later. And thanks for watching. Click that like button. See you
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.